Aloha and welcome everyone to Maui Nonprofit Notes. Can you believe it's Wednesday already?
That fast.
That fast. Monday and Tuesday they're kind of slow. You hit Wednesday morning and it's like full speed ahead to Friday.
Get ready for Friday.
Get ready for Friday. Gotcha. Okay. Anyway, this is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs within our community. Maui Nonprofit Notes is generously sponsored by Pacific Source. If you're building or remodeling a home, you've just got to check out Pacific Source's cabinet and appliance showroom in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. It's my pleasure to introduce our co-host for today. Hey, you were here last week.
Yes, that's right.
Did you leave or did you just stay?
No. I brought my sleeping bag over here.
Okay. We have Cesar Gaxiola, who's the Executive Director of the J. Walter Cameron Center. And I think we mentioned that you were kind of the host in training or something because you're the vice president.
Something like that, yeah, for 2014.
For 2014.
Getting close, yeah? No.
Yeah, it is. It's closer than we think. So, who have we got today?
Today with us, we have Colleen Welty from Maui Branch Director with the National Kidney Foundation.
Of Hawaii. Maui.
Correct.
Maui chapter, Maui branch, Maui, what are you?
Whatever.
Whatever.
County.
You answered anything, huh?
That's right.
You've got a giant challenge with the kidney, working with folks and kidney issues because I understand it's not slowing down. If anything, it's increasing.
Yeah, they say 1 out of 3 are at risk. And on the mainland, they usually say 1 out of 9 have it or will get it. And here in Hawaii, it's more like 1 out of 7.
Wow.
So, yeah, since high blood pressure and diabetes, especially if those are uncontrolled, are the leading, and those are growing and expanding as our waistlines are growing.
Let's not talk about that.
No
we
pun
were
intended.
talking about age a couple weeks ago, and we said, and let's cool that too.
Yeah.
So there's certain things we can't talk about on the show. No, just kidding. And it's a very serious subject though, because we do see more and more people with, as you said, high blood pressure and diabetes especially.
Yeah.
I had a very good friend who told me the other day, we went out to lunch, it's the first time in probably 6-8 months, and I said, what are you going to have? And she says, on this menu, I can only have these 2 items.
Wow.
And I said, what happened? How come? And I said, you just off? Because she's not heavy and has no signs of issues. But she said she was tested, and it came back that she has type 2 diabetes, and she's right on the edge of having to use insulin.
No,
I mean, the first time out the door,
wow.
it's that bad already. And she said she was having some eye problems. And it's like, okay, that's one of the signs. And it's one of the factors that you've got to be really aware of. If you do have diabetes, you need to have those eyes checked very regularly for that specific test. And so I was astounded because I'm sitting there going, not you, because I mean, she did eat pretty healthy most of the time. And she says, no, she says her father and her grandfather, her father and her grandmother both had died from complications of diabetes.
Wow, yeah.
So she says, I'm not playing with this.
Yeah.
Wow.
The family history of it is also, if you have diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, and speaking of age, even if you're 60 and over, your risks go up. And if you have the ethnic background of African American, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, or Pacific Islanders, so that's partially why we're higher rate than the mainland,
Greater concentration of those.
Yeah. And then they have
groups.
other symptoms of it also.
Colleen,
but
so what can we do then to prevent all of this?
diet and exercise, the same things that we don't always like to hear, but a healthy lifestyle is really, that's what you can do to keep your blood sugar down, to keep your blood pressure down, and to, especially if you have a family history of it, like this
person,
this woman, she knows that it's nothing to mess around with. And as you go to the doctor, it seems like, numbers are getting tighter and lower and we're getting older, and so it's like, this is not fair. It used to be this amount and I was fine. Now I'm older and now the numbers are going, So, if you're inching up there, take it seriously in your, and if you want to come to the mall for our screening on
Saturday.
yeah, the 27th, a week from this Saturday.
A week.
We're going to actually do a little finger prick, and also we give you a little brown bag with a little cup in it and a lid. Go up the elevator, use the restrooms by the food court, and then come out the back side of that toward the back of the food court there where you can sit. And we have our urinalysis machines there. And right there on the spot within probably a half hour to an hour total for this whole screening, you can find out how your blood sugar is, how your blood pressure is, your BMI, and how's your urine. Because if you're leaking protein in your urine, that's not a good thing. Now, I'm not a medical person. I come from a teaching background, education, so I want to make sure everyone understands that. But we have a lot of medical volunteers, doctors and nurses, student nurses, pharmacists that come out, and they do the exit interviews. Well, they actually do a lot of the different tests. But
So this is going to be free?
it is.
Oh, okay.
The Kidney Foundation puts it on with donations, and we just got some sponsorship from the nephrologists here on Maui. There's Dr. Hassel, Dr. Lacus, and Dr. Williams. And I just today got a check in the mail from them. So I want to. Their clinic is called Maui Kidney Disease Inc.
Oh my goodness!
And they are stepping up and supporting our event, which I thought was really nice. So
Nephrology is the study of
kidneys
Kidneys.
and kidney disease. Yeah, so they're the nephrologists. They're right over next to the dialysis unit here on Maui-Lani Parkway.
Okay.
And so I'm really excited to have them.
Why
helping
isn't
out.
anything so simple? Why can't they just say they're
Kidney doctors? Yeah.
Kidney doctors, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have to have a big word for it.
guess.
That's what education and science is. You can't say bug. You have to say the big name for
the
it. Yeah.
formal name.
Yep.
Yeah. So you mentioned BMI is
Body mass index.
okay,
Excuse me.
for those who may not know.
Sure.
So you really are testing everything.
We're not
related.
We're not actually doing cholesterol.
Okay.
But a lot of things, and we have a lot. It's really, I think of it as a 3-ring circus because we've got entertainment with Jimmy Mack and the Cool Cats. Ulavehi Guerrero won't be there, but his Keiki Halau will. They were such a hit last year. And George Kahumoku Jr. and a bunch of his friends are going to be there. So we've got great entertainment from 10 to 2 on the center stage. And then you go through our screening, and then there's also a health fair. So that's the 3-ring circus. The
Wow.
entertainment, the kidney screening, and a health fair. And the health fair's got Legacy of Life. They can talk to you about organ donations, or if you have somebody that you want to talk to about that. The Lions help us out. Big help is the health occupation students, HOSA, and they are the ones from Maui High. They're learning how to do medical type things, so they come and help out. American Heart's going to be there. A lot of student nurses from UHMC. Diagnostic Labs does the finger prick for us. And then there's going to be Medicare Patrol, an eye doctor, we hope. Ohana Health, Sage Plus, Mina Pharmacy, which is right there at that mall, Queen Kaumanu Center, and then Rainbow Dialysis, which is the new dialysis center on Maui, wants to have a table and also volunteer and help out. So I think of it sort of a 3-ring circus.
Right.
We got to, make sure we have all parts of it. So.
This event grows every year, and this is what, the 25th?
Actually,
For
it's
the Kidney
Foundation is 25 years old in Hawaii, and this event is 8 years old.
8 years old. And in those 8 years, I'm trying to remember what you told me last year, how many people you've screened.
Yeah, it's like 944 people in
So we
the
got-
first.
And one day?
No.
Over
The
the
7
8
years.
years.
8
Oh, I see,
Excuse
I
me,
see,
in
I
the
see.
7 years.
7 years.
So we figured that this year
Okay.
we'll hit
1,000.
1,000 people
okay, okay.
screened.
What does the 1,000th person get?
Well, I'm working on it.
I'll bet you are.
Yeah. Ruby's has stepped up to give us some gift certificates. Maui Specialty Chocolate is giving us some. Lee
Oh,
Bear.
good. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Why is it always food places and chocolate places?
You can
and-
pass it out to your family.
There you go.
Yeah. And Lee Bear is going to give us a little gift
neat.
basket in that. So we're kind of asking around in
Yeah.
the community. And
So all the bells and whistles going to go off when 1,000? No.
Well, it depends upon who it is. They might want to be a low-key
I
person,
see.
but I definitely will tell we have lots of groups that have helped us every year. As I mentioned some of them, but the ADK is Alpha Delta Kappa. It's really a group of retired teachers from here on Maui. And you want somebody to help you with organization and registration. Get the retired teachers, right?
Yeah.
And they number the people as they come in. So
I
I'm
see.
going to give them a little heads up to come and tell me who the number 1,000th person is, and if that person wants to be, at
Recognized,
least we
yeah.
could give them some gifts, if not
Yeah.
bells and
So-
whistles. And
So
all
you
of
said
that.
you've had 944
44. I think it is. In 8 years, or
So,
7 years, so a little over 100 every year.
You're probably safe if you come an hour and a half after it starts.
Except the trick to that is that it's a fast. It's better if you come fasting.
right.
And by 10 o'clock, I know I'm ready for something.
to eat.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your blood sugar is a little
Right.
higher if you've eaten, and you can indicate that on the paperwork, and it's not a problem.
So it doesn't matter then.
Not too much, but we suggest people come fasting. It's just a little bit more accurate and.
I think the thing that's the most impressive about this event to me is how you get answers to your questions before you leave.
Right.
I mean, you take the test and you're not waiting to get a postcard in the mail or a phone call or wondering what's going on. You actually talk to someone who has the
Right.
results in their hands.
Yep. And I think the people who do those exit interviews, number one, they don't always get to see a cross section of the population. They might work in one little clinic or one spot, and so they get to talk to a whole different group of people, and sometimes those are people that are underinsured or uninsured, and they also see the results. Some people come to this event more than once. They come like every other year or every year, and they have such success that the doctors and nurses come down and tell me, you've got to publicize this success of this event, and you've got to get, they're excited.
Right.
And usually one call, and some of them call us. When is that? When can we come? So, and we do it in
Right.
shifts, so they're not there all day. Like work a half a day at it, and so we're very blessed in Maui to have such a community. They've been the sad events in Boston. They've been talking about how the
yes.
Bostonians are coming out to help, and how the heroes. And I feel the same way about the Maui volunteers, because this is giving up their Saturday, and they do it year after year, and we couldn't do it without them. The staff at Maui Kidney Foundation is 1.5. Myself and Jessica Nakasone Koki, and that we couldn't attempt to do something like this without the groups, the clubs, and the individuals who come. It's almost 100 volunteers.
Oh, wow.
So
With kidney disease, is there a pre-kidney disease kind of path or something? 'Cause like with diabetes, you can have pre-diabetes for years if you control yourself.
no, it comes on kind of suddenly. That's why we want
I
to do
see.
these screenings, because sometimes there's not a lot of warning signs. They do suggest that if you have muscle cramping at night, swollen feet or ankles, puffiness around the eyes, particularly in the morning, if you feel the urge to urinate more often, especially at night, or if you have unexpected weight loss or gain, that those might be some things,
But
and some people
there are also some symptoms of so many other things.
Yeah. And some people suffer terribly with kidney stones, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have kidney disease.
So do you see
So-
in a specific group age, or just everybody?
The risk of it is a little higher, like so many things, as you get older, and it's certainly more prevalent with 50 and above than it is with children. But there are children on dialysis too. So.
So it's not necessarily from a lifetime of bad eating habits or whatever. It could just simply be a kidney that doesn't function
Right.
properly
Right.
from start.
Right. And, sometimes that's a diseased kidney that can be removed, and you can live just fine on one kidney.
On the other kidney.
I know a handful or more of people who have only one, and it was perhaps because of diseased kidney, or they chose to donate to a family member, or even anonymously,
Gotcha.
to someone they didn't even know.
Okay, well, on that note, let's take a short break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes. We were talking story here on break, and if you enjoyed a little bit extra music, it was because we were still talking. And poor Gary's trying to get our attention and say, hello, the people out there want to hear you. Don't just talk to yourselves. So we're going to ask you to kind of repeat some of what we were talking about. When the Hawaii Medical Center closed over in Oahu back in last year, that left Hawaii without a transplant center. And then the Queens, wasn't it Queens?
Yep.
Transplant Center opened in January of this year.
2012.
2012. Oh, I'm sorry. It's 2011 is when the medical center closed, and 2012 is when Queens started. So in that first year, they did about 25 transplants. But typically before that, there'd been like 75 a year. And something I read or saw not too long ago, because is this Kidney Month?
March was actually.
Okay.
This is Organ Donor Month, April.
Okay.
But
Okay, so anyway, there was something that was said about how some people want to give a kidney, like they may have a sister or a brother or parent or somebody who needs a kidney transplant, and they want to donate a kidney, but they don't match.
right.
And there's some kind of a program they can get into?
There is that they've expanded the exchange. It used to be it was like a relative or someone that you knew, and I think there's like 6 categories of things that they have to match on, and I think you can still have the transplant if you match like on 4. But like I said, I'm not really a medical person, and I'm not that close to that part. But yeah, you can now. If your spouse wanted to donate to you because you needed one, but you weren't a match, that spouse can still be tested for someone else, and then someone in that other recipient's family could be tested and it might match you.
Oh, I
so it's
see.
really expanded over like an exchange over the last maybe 5 to 10 years that it's gotten a lot more. And you can give anonymously, or a great percentage of them are actually from people who are in an accident and they're not going to make it,
Right.
and they've already put it on their driver's license, and then of course the hospital does everything they can to
Right.
save you, but at some point, if you're not going to live, and that was your wishes, which hopefully you've talked over with your family, so it's
Right. Don't just
not
put
a
it
shock.
on. Don't just put it
Yeah.
on your driver's license. Tell your family that's what you want.
Yeah.
Now there's kind of a technicality in that too, and that is that this has to be done basically before the patient is formally pronounced dead.
very quickly thereafter, perhaps.
Yeah,
but
because
yeah.
it's one of those organs that doesn't survive.
Right.
So the usual candidate is someone who's brain dead,
Yep.
or something like that. Or as you said, you can. The timing is so critical in this, because you can if it's not, if you're out trying to find somebody to say yes, do it.
Yes. Yeah.
You
Right.
could lose that.
window of opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow, very interesting.
And sometimes one person who dies can donate several organs,
Right.
their eyes, their
Multiple.
tissue, lots of different things. You know.
Yeah, we've seen some stories over the years about how they've met some of the people that the family members have met some of the people that their loved one helped survive and go on to live a great lives.
Yeah,
It's a miracle.
definitely. Yeah, definitely it's a miracle. Colleen, do you have information if somebody is you want to contact you or wants more
Sure. Yeah.
information?
It's 986-1900. Our office is on Waiali, right next to Norman's and Palm Travel. So we're right down there by Hashi Car Wash, and down the road
Oh, okay.
before you hit the new Longs down there. So we have a
way before
small
that, yeah.
office. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom of Wells, actually. It's
Right.
below the fire station in
Yes.
Napa. It's where Wells hits Waiale.
There you go.
Is where we are. It's a one-story building with a turquoise roof. So, and we also take kidney clothes there, and you can also talk to us about donating a car. That's part of the way we fund our programs.
So it's quite an event coming up a week from Saturday, April 27th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Queen Ka'ahumanu Center, for the entire family, actually. Now, how young can you test?
18 and over.
Okay, 18 and over.
And it's free.
Yeah,
Right.
it's totally free.
Totally free.
So if you want a second opinion, if your doctor has said, oh, I don't think I need to test your urine, and you haven't given a urine specimen in the last year or so, here's a chance, you know. If you don't have insurance, or if you just want to come and talk to a, one-on-one with a medical person,
Right.
just you. And those little tables back up in the corner of the food court work perfectly because they're just,
Two people.
yep.
Sit there and talk. And if you have concerns, I know somebody told me at one point about another person I know who has diabetes, which seems to be growing as well, said that their doctor just won't test them because they just said, no, you don't have a problem. And it's like, come on. And I don't understand some of the theories behind when you test and when you don't. But if it were me and I had some inkling that something was going on and maybe it's this, I wanted to get tested. I
Right.
want to know.
Yep. And your blood and your urine are pretty easy things to test.
Right.
And we have the different urinalysis machines right there. And we have nurses that have done it last year, and they said, oh, yeah, I want to come and do it again, because they just, they feel like in one short 10 to 2 time period, they're really helping out. So
Are there any statistics on maybe how, and maybe this is not a good question, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. That never stopped me before. Any statistics on how many potential kidney patients you might find at one of these events?
and it could be diabetes
Okay.
or high blood pressure, or
Okay.
we find about 20 to 30% of the people
With some issues.
with some risk issues. And we've never, knock on wood, had to, we have doctors right there. We've never had to say to somebody, we're calling you we're calling an ambulance for you right now, or we want you to go to the hospital right now. We've not had to do that. But on some of our ones in Oahu, they have bigger turnouts and bigger ones, and they have had to do that sometimes. Like your blood pressure is off the charts here. We don't, you need to
We can't
go
let you
right
go.
now. We can't let
Yeah.
you go. So that's very rare, but it could be a life-saving thing for them.
That's true. That's true. And blood pressure can go up and down so easily. I know mine will. If I'm waiting to see my doctor and it takes more than 10 minutes, I pull out my little phone and I start playing solitaire because that relaxes me. Otherwise, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to stew over it. And when I go in, my blood pressure is going to be 138. And if I play solitaire, I can sit there for an hour, and just have a great old time. I won't read emails because that'll go back up. But playing solitaire, I can go in. My blood pressure is going to be the usual 118.
You know
Cool.
what? Try the Angry Birds.
No. Simple, plain old solitaire. It's just, and somebody, I think the nurse came out one day and she said, "What is it you're always playing when you're sitting here?" And I said, "I'm embarrassed to tell you I'm playing solitaire." And when she took my blood pressure, there it was, 118 over 79, just the way
And
it's supposed to be.
some people they call it like a white coat syndrome or something like that, where people actually do have higher blood pressure just by being with the doctor in a medical situation. They get nervous,
Yeah.
or they're frightened or something, and I think I've heard it referred to as a white coat syndrome. where you just, you're fine, and then you go in, it's like test anxiety or something, yeah.
It's like taking the driver's test.
Yes.
That's the only test in the world that scares me, because it's win or lose.
Yeah.
right? If you get that one too many wrong, you lose your license.
Are you doing the driving part or the
Written
part?
test.
Oh,
The written
yeah.
test.
Doesn't matter.
I heard the
I
driving part
know.
is very scary too.
Oh,
you
really?
You don't hold at 10 and
10
2.
and 3 or 10
you're,
and 2?
You're done.
Ah,
10
okay.
and 3, you're out of there. No.
Oh, I'm done. Okay. Anyway, this has just been incredibly educational, and it always is when we talk to Colleen. And for those of you out there, if there's any family history of diabetes, high blood pressure, etc., or kidney disease itself, please go get tested. If not by your doctor, head out for the Kidney Decline Day at Queen Kahumanu Center, Saturday, April 27th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., or give Colleen and her staff of 1.5 a call at 986-1900 for more information. Colleen, always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
All right.
and have a great day
Thank you.
on that day. So coming up now in the second half of the show, we are going to shift gears, and who have we got?
We have Stephen Bennett with us from Maui Youth and Family Services.
And Stephen is a family therapist, I hear.
That's right. That's right.
Come on up to the mic,
All
Steve.
right. Good afternoon, Susie and Cesar.
So how's it going?
Everything's going great. It's a beautiful day.
It is, isn't it? So now, a family therapist, you work with the entire family?
We do, absolutely.
Okay.
That's exactly what we do. So we're Maui Youth and Family Services, and basically we work with families throughout Maui County. So that's anywhere here on this island, and Lanai and Molokai. And we work with families who are in crisis, families who are in need, family dynamic, chronic arguing, behavioral issues with the kid. We just work to sort of identify those negative cycles and work to break them. You know, issues of abuse and neglect. You know, I try to work with that. Truancy from school, kids who are running away, spending too much time on the streets, not attending school, not graduating, getting in trouble with the law, things like that. We try to identify those families and offer family counseling and therapy to get those families back on track, get the kids back in the home, stabilize their behaviors, stabilize their activities, and get them back to positive functioning and sort of reestablish those positive cycles back into the community.
So now, are they referred to you by schools, by the
Court system.
court system, or how are they identified?
Yeah, good question. We get referrals from all over the place. So there's a few different ways. We sometimes will get calls from the school if the kid is having school attendance issues, failing classes, things like that. We can get a referral from the school. We can get a referral from anywhere in the community, from the church, from a neighborhood. A family can refer themselves. They can call our office directly and basically say, we need some help. You know, we need some support. These are the behaviors we're seeing with our kid. These are the problems we're having within our family, and we would just like some support. And then we can speak with them, do an assessment, and find out if they're appropriate for our services. We also get a lot of referrals from the Department of Health, the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Division. If a family qualifies, they can have their child registered with them, and we might get a referral from them for our services. So basically what we do is we have a couple of different contracts, but we are a therapeutic foster care program. So what that means is whatever's going on in the family, the dynamic is too volatile, there's too much arguing, there's too much fighting, hopefully not, but maybe it's getting physical or violent, or the kid's running away. Basically, whatever's going on in the household is too volatile for the family to sit down and have a civil conversation. So what we do is we offer a place for an out-of-home placement where the child can come to a foster home on a temporary basis and just have a safe, stable place to be so that the family can cool down, have a little bit of respite, and be able to come back to the table as a family and participate in counseling and therapy and have the conversations needed so that the child can come back home.
I see.
So what we do is always temporary. We're not a permanent foster care. We're not like CPS or CWS. The families we work with, whatever issues are going on in the home, we determine that it can be improved with a little bit of intervention so that the child can go back home and go on to just reestablish a positive path for the family.
So you,
Go ahead.
go ahead. Do you see a decrease on these type of issues, or how's Maui in comparison to other counties or populations of the same size?
You know, you would be surprised some of the issues that are going on right here on our little island. You know, we've got some families dealing with some very serious issues, some deep-seated trauma. There's domestic violence, there's substance abuse, there's sexual abuse, there's physical abuse. There are children who are not attending school, they're going unsupervised. A variety of different things. There are mental health issues that are going on with our kids, the children and adolescents that's going on unaddressed.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is getting these families support, because a lot of these issues of trauma, abuse, the parents dealt with when they were children, and then they did not get the support that they needed. They grew up and they had children themselves, so these cycles perpetuate. So the idea of what we can do as a community is try to reach out and offer these families support to break those negative cycles and try to get our kids, Maui's youth, back on a positive path so they grow up and promote positive family dynamic and positive behaviors.
Is it possible for one child in a family setting, say there's 3 or 4 children, is it possible for one child to be having these problems and the others not?
Well, each and every family
It's
is
different.
different. I mean,
Yeah.
you can look at your own family, and all of us could use some support in one area
Right.
or another. So, anything that we can do to put something positive into that home is a victory. We're not looking to take a child and quote fix them. What we're looking to do is identify behaviors and say this is a family that needs support. We are a program and we're a community as Maui County. As a community, as residents, we want to offer support to our neighbors and our kids, because that benefits everyone. And anything that we can do to offer support to put that kid back on the right path, get them going towards their education, keeping them out of trouble with the law, getting their needs addressed so that the family can go on and be positive. Anything that we do is a victory. We're not looking to necessarily change the family. We're not
Right.
looking to judge anyone.
Right.
We're looking to offer support where it's needed. And there's a lot of families out there who would really like the help, and they don't know where to turn, or they
Right.
don't even necessarily know that they have, a
Yeah.
problem.
A problem,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes the issues with the kid, a lot of the times it's the parents need support with parenting skills. They would like to be there for their children, but they did not have that modeled for them growing up, and they could use some
Sure,
support
sure.
and knowing how to help their children break that cycle.
Right.
So those are all just a little bit of the things that we do in our program.
What was the old story about anybody can have a baby, but they don't come with instructions?
Something like that.
I don't remember the whole thing, but it was like, okay, and this is really what we're talking about.
Yeah.
How do I raise a family? And you're right. A lot of people have never thought of it.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
And I guess because of the issues around it, alcohol and drugs and whatever, you probably have some families that are very young having families, and with all the stuff around them, they don't know how to, prepare or
They never had a chance to grow up.
Yeah, definitely. And so
Yeah.
how can they
Yeah.
provide when they're still growing up and being educated themselves?
Is there an age group for the children where you see more of this than another age? Or
Our contract, we serve kids aged 10 through 17. So that's primarily the population we work with. As far as what issues we deal with at what age group, it runs the gambit. But some of these issues like over-sexualized behaviors, kids being in the street, running around, having their relationships, unprotected sex, things like this. I mean, it's happening at young ages.
Yeah.
12, 13, 14-year-old kids being sexually active, especially with some of the new social media things going on with the Facebook and the cell phones. And there's a whole different element of pressures that today's kids are dealing with. And
it's a 24/7
Yeah.
pressure.
a lot of our kids need help knowing how to manage it, how to keep appropriate boundaries, how to maintain a certain level of personal respect, and how to enjoy those new technologies in an appropriate way,
Yes.
in a
Yep.
properly supervised way. So those are some of the things that we also do.
You mentioned foster families. How do you go about selecting families for that, or how can families apply for?
All right, that's the big question, Caesar. I'm glad you asked that, because that's really what it's about.
And you know what? We're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back and concentrate on that.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly radio show where we talk story with our executive directors of our agencies to find out how they are helping to keep Maui Maui, or should I say make Maui Maui better. Maui Nui.
Maui no Kauai.
Maui no Kauai. So we're talking here today with Stephen Bennett, who's a family therapist with Maui Youth and Family Services. And we've talked in general a little bit about families in crisis and kids in crisis. I keep back to calling them kids. Somebody told me don't call them kids. They're not goats. Talk about children. Children, young adults, 10 to 17, that's where you are.
Absolutely.
And so just before the break, we started to talk about foster families and how you find families to help you with these children. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Stephen, take it away.
All right, absolutely. Well, let me go ahead and start off by just giving you guys my our office phone number over at Maui Youth and Family Services. Our number is 579-8414, and my direct extension is 8203. The number is 579-8414. And I'll repeat it again at the end. But when we're talking about, the services we provide, the core of our team, we have a team of therapists, and we do what we do with working with the kids, developing treatment plans and trying to do our interventions. But the core of our team is our dedicated team of foster families, our foster parents. And our foster families, they're just regular Maui residents, just regular everyday people like you and me, who have the calling, who have a desire to contribute back to our community, and they see a need and they feel like there's something in them that would like to contribute and give back. And it's really, those are the heroes of our program. And a big part of what I'd like to talk about today is our recruitment. I know that there's a lot of families out there that have that desire to give back and would like to know how they can participate and get involved. And so what do we look for in foster parents? Like I said, it's just regular everyday families. There's a few criteria. We'll go through a little bit of an assessment. Basically, our foster parenting, it's not a career. Our foster families are basically working or retired individuals that already have their finances covered. We offer a nice tax-free stipend to offset the cost of hosting a child, but it's not intended to be a salary. I know in some states, foster parenting is kind of looked on as a career. You sort of take on kids and that is your full-time job and a salary. What we look for in our foster parents here are, we want a home that's just going to model your basic functioning. What you do, you're going to bring a child into your home and just show them how you get along, how you manage your daily routine, how you get up and go to work, how you get your kids to school, how you have your meals on time, how you conduct your hygiene, how you have arguments in your home and manage them in a productive way. Just your basic everyday life. We're not looking for anyone special or with any special training. We're going to provide you the training you need. So our families come in and we give them, we go through our full training session to give you the skills and the tools that you need to help work with the kids, and basically just provide that safe, stable environment where the kid knows he has a room to themselves, where him or herself, where they can go to sleep at night and be safe. They don't have to worry about their personal boundaries being violated, because maybe in their home they didn't have that safe place. They can have a home that's peaceful. Maybe the biological home they came from was very chaotic and they did not have that space. So the best thing that our foster parents provide is just being themselves, showing these kids that life can look different in different homes with a different set of expectations, different set of rules, and just model that stability for them. As therapists, we do individual counseling with the kids. We do the family therapy with the families. And we let our foster parents know with each kid that comes in, each kid has their unique challenges. Each family has their unique problems that they're dealing with. So we set the foster parents up to know that these are the treatment goals and these are how you can support this kid in their treatment. Some kids have had some really rough backgrounds and they could benefit from some more patience and empathetic listening and things like that, and just that sort of affection, that place to be. Some kids have a real issue with boundaries and structure and authority, and they need support in that. So we definitely take into account the personalities of the foster family and the issues that the kids are dealing with, and try to match them up in the most therapeutic setting, because our goal is always for the child to go back home to their biological family, to be reunified, and for the family to have a better quality of life. So there's a lot that goes into it, but our foster families are just people like you and me all over the island. We have families, Kihei, Lahaina, Wailuku, Upcountry, Pukalani, Makua, Kula. So we're always recruiting for families all over the island who would like to find out more about what we do, find out about what our training is like and what the commitment is like, and see how they can get involved.
Sometimes we hear people say that, life is just too chaotic. We both have 2 jobs, trying to make ends meet, keep a roof over the heads of our children, food on the table. We can't be there for the kids all the time. And I guess that's probably true in many households, but it's the quality of time you spend with the kids more than the quantity. Am I right on that one?
You're absolutely right. It's about the intention. With any sort of counseling, the intention has to be there. You have to have that desire in your heart to want to do something positive. And when you can do that, you can find the strength and the patience to work through anything with support. That's what we're here to do, is help each other. We're not looking for anyone to be perfect. We try to push judgment out as much as humanly possible, as much as you can, and just offer people an opportunity to show that they want to get involved and to participate.
Cool.
Yes.
It's I guess the thing that gets to me is that sometimes it goes so far, as you were again talking about working with children 10 to 17. Is it easier to work with somebody that you learn about who's 10 than somebody who's 17 and has been through it that many more years?
I've seen success stories at all ages in our program, which is a wonderful thing. I mean, a lot of it's timing, but sometimes you just catch a kid at that moment when they could really use a positive intervention. Maybe they're really struggling at home and they weren't getting that sort of support from the guardians, or maybe they're going through whatever. Typically, maybe at a younger age, you would think getting to a kid at 12 or 13 or 14 can be easier to change some of those bad habits before they get ingrained. But we've had some kids 16, 17 years old getting ready to transition into independence that we have seen some wonderful success. Kids that were ready to drop out of school, kids, young women who were at high risk of getting pregnant. And I've seen them get stabilized, get on the path towards graduating high school, talking about college, getting involved in vocational training, Job Corps, getting back on the positive path, building that self-esteem and that empowerment. And that's what it's really about, is raising these kids to be successful, independent individuals going into adulthood that grow up to become solid members of Maui County,
Right.
that go on to perpetuate that positive effect. And that's what we're really about.
Can there be a time when a child, say, meets a new friend and starts spending some time at their home, and they see the difference in between the 2 homes? Is there ever, does a child pick up on that and want to know why it can't be like that at their house?
Yeah, and like I said, each case is unique, and that's part of the beauty of it. But what's really nice is that they can see, a lot of kids think that this is just my home and this is what everybody's home looks
Right.
like. This is the hand I was dealt, and this is just my lot in life, and this is my fate. And we like to, one of the beauties of our program is they can have an opportunity to see that other homes function under their own values, under their own expectations, and you need to be able to learn and adapt and find ways that work for you. I don't want you to be a mirror image of anyone. I want you to look at, I'm offering you choices.
Right.
There are ways that you can make choices that work for you, independent, and you can look at your family life and look at what's working and build on that, and you can look at what's not working and realize that you can make your life better through your own effort. And that's what empowerment is. That's what that self-efficacy is, and trying to instill that in kids. We have foster families that have children in their home, young newborn babies, elementary school kids, high school kids, and bringing a foster kid in the family can be an outstanding influence on them. They can see how other kids, function as far as getting up and getting ready for school, doing their homework, eating healthy meals, getting into arguments with their families and handling them in a constructive way that doesn't involve yelling, swearing, physical violence, running away. You know, they can see it can be great on a peer level. We also have foster families who don't have any children in the home. We have some single parents. We have a whole variety. It's about what can you offer. Most people have something positive they can offer to kids if they feel that, you know. And then we can have conversations and talk about whether it's a good fit for you or not.
So what happens to the kids that are not 10 yet?
Well, our contracts only service kids 10 through 17. So there's other resources out in the community to deal with kids that are younger. But our specific contracts, we have two basic ideas. Everything that we do is temporary. We're not a permanent foster care system. But we have what we call the emergency shelter, which is a temporary placement. We can get a referral from anywhere in the community that basically says, our family needs help. We're afraid that if we continue how we're going, that's going to get ugly. Can we please have a shelter for the child so we can cool down? And those placements are usually anywhere from 1 day, 24 hours, up to a couple of weeks, short-term placements, so that the family has an opportunity to cool off. We can work with the child and send the family home with appropriate community resources. We're not adopting your child. We want to send your family home so you can be successful. So that's getting the right counseling services in the community, the right medication management if that's appropriate, setting them up with activities, positive activities, community service things, plugging our kids in, plugging our families into networks that will help spiral them in the right way. Yeah, so that's a big part of what we do. We also have the longer-term care, relatively long-term, which can be up to 6 months, where we do a little bit more of an in-depth treatment plan. We determine whatever's going on with this family, they could benefit from a little more extensive therapy, and we can keep them within our foster home for up to 6 months and continue to do the individual therapy and the family therapy. So depending on what works for you and your family, you might be available to do the longer-term care, or you might want to just participate in the short-term emergency shelter. So.
We spent most of the time talking about one child coming out of the family, but are there cases where you take 2 or 3? I mean, all the children?
No.
Okay.
In my experience, I haven't seen anything like that. Typically, we focus on one child at a time.
Okay.
There might be examples of families that could that could use
It
that.
should have.
But that might get a different referral. We basically
Right.
take families that we know what's going on here, the dynamic between this one kid and the family. We can help them with a little bit of counseling.
So it's pretty much the acting out, either by the parent or the child, that causes you to step in.
Yeah, when you get to the point where you realize your family is not functioning the way it should, as in like the arguing is going on so much and it's getting physical, and you're concerned for physical safety in the house, or this kid is running away and he's out in the streets way too much, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old teenagers being out in the streets for days, weeks at a time, running with their friends, cruising in the street, not attending school, failing their classes. When you got some severe behavioral issues going on, your family knows you need some support, and we are one option. A number I'd like to throw out there for families who are not aware, there's a community access line. So if you feel like this is your family, or of a family that you think could use some support like this, there's an access line that people can call 24 hours a day. That's 800-753-6879. So that's 800-753-6879. And that's a community emergency access line that they offer some counseling and do an assessment and see for families, people of all ages, not just adolescents, but to see if that family could use some support to avoid a crisis. And I'll give my office number again for anyone who's any of those families out there who think that they might be interested in foster parenting, or think of someone in your community, your church, your neighbors, anyone at your school that you think has that desire and has that calling, would like to participate in foster parenting. Please give us a call so we can talk about it. My office number is 579-8414, extension 8203. And my email address is sbennett@myfs.org. So that's SBENNETT@myfs.org.
So if someone out there feels that maybe their neighbor is having a problem, and maybe has had an opportunity to kind of broach the subject, but not, it's a hard one to talk about.
It is. Yeah.
They could call this hotline number. It would be an anonymous call,
Well,
or not.
The initial call, if there's something that the crisis mobile outreach can do over the phone to help put out the fire, then that's great. If it's necessary for them to come out to the home to help do a little on-site intervention, then they're available to do that.
So would they do? I mean, if I were to call and say my neighbor's got this problem going on, who can help them?
Mm-hmm.
They would send someone out to that neighbor's house to feel the situation out.
In that situation, if you were calling
Right.
because something was going on next door, they would probably ask you some more questions. If there's imminent danger, you're going to go to the appropriate authorities, call
Right.
the police,
Right.
et cetera. But basically, this hotline is for you as a neighbor to go to your neighbor yourself
Oh,
and
okay.
say, I'm basically hearing that you guys are having some family issues, and as a neighbor, I'm offering this information to you that you might not have known about. If you would like to get some support for your family, please call this number. So that would be more the approach. If you
Okay.
see there's imminent danger or there's something severe going on, you would probably call the
Sure.
appropriate authorities.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow.
So-
I don't know.
It's interesting hosting the show, isn't it?
It is, yeah. No, but I just was thinking, if you go to your neighbor and say, "Oh, here is some information," I don't know about my neighbor
How's that
response.
accepted? Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's not about being perfect, and
Yeah.
it doesn't always work for everyone.
Right.
But in
Yeah.
our field, we believe if you can do anything positive, if you can offer the choice to them.
Right.
And sometimes we can reach people and do some wonderful things.
Well, it's wonderful that you can. I admire people who work in this side of the social services realm, because
Yeah.
it is a problem. It's a problem that's growing because the families are growing up with some misinformation about how family life should be, and maybe misinformation is not the right word, but it's they know what they've been exposed to, and there's been nothing out there to help them understand that family life can be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and I think it's just not being aware because there's so much information going around, with the media and internet and everything else. So, sometimes we tend to go one side, one area.
Yeah, way
Yes.
off into the wrong side, the dark side, so to speak. Now you've got is this Emmy Festival? Is this something you're doing? No. Okay, that's something that was on your website coming up May 4th. So we won't talk about it.
And
We'll ask Judd about that.
Great.
Okay, because I know you've got 3 agencies together up there.
Yeah, we're up underneath the Aloha House. So.
Right. And so, I don't know, Cesar, what do you think? Did you learn something today?
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's very interesting, and meeting everybody from the agencies and just learning about the programs, the specifics, and the activities and everything else. Yeah.
It's great. I'm really thankful that you guys had us on the program, because the big thing is just reaching out. Foster parent recruitment is a ongoing thing. So any families out there who are interested, or someone else who might be interested, please pass on the number 579-8414. Tell them to please give a call so we can give them some more info.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Steve, and thank you all for joining us today on the Maui Nonprofit Notes. This show is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, the Builder's Choice. If you are building or remodeling your home, please stop by their showroom in the Waikapu Base Yard. The Maui Nonprofit Directors Association mission is to provide personal and professional support to Maui nonprofit executive directors, the organizations, and the community of Maui.
And today we visited with the diabetes. She's got me on that. The Kidney Foundation, and with Maui Youth and Family Services. And Stephen, thank you. And Colleen, thank you. And we hope that everybody will join us again next week, right here, same time, same place, as we visit with 2 more agencies and talk about what they are doing. Until we meet again, I'm Susie Tiemann, and
Cesar Gagiola.
we got Stephen Bennett, and behind the controls we got Gary, and he's giving me the sign, you got to shut up, Susie. We got to go. Aloha, everyone. Have a great week.
Aloha.